Hi everyone, Simon Killing here, weatherweb.net. Thanks again for watching. Just giving you an update on the long ranges and where the long range charts are taking us just at the moment. This forecast updated on Tuesday the 26th of March. Now, what I wanted to show you was just the charts that have become available recently. This is the JMA, and this is the week 1 forecast that became available last Friday, the 22nd. And the British Isles, a bit hard to see, but we're underneath there, okay? And this is the mean of the heights, and these blue colours here indicating heights below normal across the Atlantic and into the Bay of Biscay, with above normal heights up here, bringing high pressure, low pressure down here. But what's interesting here is the jet stream to the south of the country, a little bit closer to the south of England than it has been, hence the reason that there is the threat of rain during the Easter weekend along southern coasts of England. Now, into week 2, look, the JMA strengthens the jet in the Atlantic, brings below normal heights, takes them through the bay here, into central parts of Europe. It weakens the block off towards the north, but we've still got the high pressure still in there, keeping the northern half of the British Isles generally dry and still in cooler conditions. But that JMA again trying to bring back in this idea of wetter weather down towards the south, and kind of I've been dismissing this to some extent. Then week 3 or 4 taking us through to day 29, which would take us up to the middle part of April, well, up to around the 20th of April. And what this showed was that block trying to get back into the north here, to the north of Scotland. The jet's still down through the south of the country, but actually over the south of the country, bringing wetter conditions. Now, as I said, I've kind of been ignoring this and thinking it was an outlier out on its own, but these long ranges have really proved quite tricky over the last few days. So I've been looking around for evidence from elsewhere. So I took a look at the Korean model, and this is what the Korean model has looked like. Excuse me, there's the position for the middle of April. You've got to twist your head round for these because we're there upside down. But the red colour is indicating high pressure. Look, and it's trying to bring the high up here towards the north. So basically dominated high pressure across the UK. Then into the latter part of April, which is the chart here, it put high pressure out in the Atlantic, it put high pressure there over Scandinavia, low pressure over Greenland, and effectively put a trough in here, but separates us between a couple of ridges, which basically would have meant that most of the UK would have been dry into the late part of April, well, through the middle part of April into late April as well. And the early May chart, which is the one that you can see here, the early May chart tried to bring the high back to the north again, similar to the Japanese, and bring lower than normal heights down to the south here, which would have dominated things with high pressure. So it kind of went against the Japanese early on, but then comes back into line later on in the model set. So you see the difficulty that we've got. Now, this is how the MJO looks. This is from the ECMWF, and this takes us through from the 26th of March through to the 26th of April. And you see here, there's the 25th. So we've got 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th going into phase 3. Now, after about 6 days of entering phase 3, what we normally find is that a positive North Atlantic oscillation develops. So it leads us into more unsettled conditions. And then phase 4 is the westerly across the Atlantic, the unsettled conditions. And you see how it's in that, but only weakly into a phase 4 for most of the period. So it kind of brings up this idea of the idea of being more unsettled. And you know, we kind of, I'm starting to think, is April, which initially has been looked at such a dry month, are we actually going to go into quite a wet month across central and southern parts of the country? I think what I'm trying to convey here to you is just how low confidence is in the forecast at the long range just at the moment, and particularly when we get a chart like this from the CFS. This is rainfall anomalies for the whole of April. This is today's CFS output, and just zoom in a little bit there. The green colours here showing above normal rainfall, and you can see there across much of the British Isles, across much of Western Europe, above normal rainfall levels. So this kind of causes a problem because the CFS is now also going for the idea of the jet stream kind of coming through here somewhat, higher pressure up towards the north, blocked in through here, but the jet coming through to the south, bringing rain across many central parts of Europe. Now, I think probably the jet is a little bit further south still, something like that, and I think the area of wet weather could be southern Ireland, southern Wales, southern parts of England, sort of there southwards, but I think very wet across Portugal and Spain. So I think what these charts are pointing to as we get into April is, first of all, uncertainty. But I do think we've got to look at the period from around about the 10th onwards, potential for breakdown. Now, I think you can get as much from the idea of low confidence in the forecast as you can from high confidence in a strange sort of way, because low confidence tells us that the weather pattern is in a state of flux. It's in a shifting pattern. Things are changing. Whereas when we've got high confidence, then you can be fairly certain that the weather that we've got at that time probably isn't going to be changing very much. But I think what this is trying to convey to us is the need to be watching out for things possibly turning wetter to the middle and the end parts of April, having started the month relatively dry. And it's also indicated here, look, how much of Northern Europe, including Northern Scotland, will fall into that dry category. So I guess this has been a bit of a nondescript video for you really, but hopefully I'm hoping to show you where the idea for this comes in. The CFS and the Japanese model now starting to agree, and I think that's something that we probably need to sit up and take notice of. This idea of the south of the UK potentially being wet as we go into the middle to the latter parts of April. Something we need to watch for, and something I'll keep you updated about. Well, listen, thanks again for watching weatherweb.net. Remember, we kept free of charge by the adverts you see around the screen here. It's by you coming back and using the adverts, using the website. That's what keeps us free of charge. So thank you for doing that. So for now, I think I need another lemsip, and keep the sun shining. Bye for now.